Hey, folks, John Duffin here, Duffin Media, popping on live for a few minutes. It's been a minute and a little beyond, let's say a lot beyond the Happy New Year. So I'm joining you right now because I wanted to communicate today. The buzzword that I'm using is impact. So, impact, you generate impact regardless of whether you want to or not. And so I'll give you an example right off the bat. And I'm sorry, where's my manners, right? So I happen to be on Facebook today, LinkedIn today, and YouTube live today, all at once. How about that? Right. So if you see me on Facebook Live, and I can tell that there are already people that are on from Facebook, that's great. If you see me, give me a shout. I'll know it's you specifically, and that'll be cool. I won't make you look bad, I promise. I'll make you look good. But I get to acknowledge you properly. So drop a note in the comments if you're watching me live on Facebook. If you're watching me live on LinkedIn, same deal. It just makes it more personal that I can thank you, acknowledge you, communicate better with you properly. So if you're watching me on LinkedIn, give me a shout, drop a note in the comments, let me know that you're here, and YouTube as well. It just makes it a little bit more fun. I'm here. I would love to know that you are as well. So today's communication is going to be brief, but I had a couple of things I wanted to identify. So as I said, the word of the day is impact. That's what I'm talking about. Impact, whether you realize it or not. So I'll tell you, for me personally, I'm a little bit awkward today. I haven't done a live stream in a little bit. And without going into too much additional detail, myself and my family are dealing with loss and the grieving process. And so I won't get into specifics here on this live stream, but there have been a lot of people that have reached out to me, reached out to my family in regards to the loss that we have suffered in our family. And it is a massive loss. I'll tell you point blank, I've never had these kinds of feelings before in my life. And so it's spectacularly difficult. And I know I'm not alone. Not just in the way that people have been reaching out to me and my family, but also that people go through loss. People go through loss in their families. And so I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not the first one. But the fact of the matter is that I just want you, I'm finding out how difficult this is. And so that's the part what I wanted to communicate today. Not that part, but what do you do? What exactly do you do? I'm seeing more people jumping in. This is great, and I'm really excited about this. So if you are watching me one more time, Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live, drop a note in the comments that I'll know that you're here, and I'll acknowledge you properly. So what does grieving have to do with impact? Well, things have to get done. Still, things have to get done. I really wished in certain days and in certain moments that that things would stop, that things would I would have time to catch up, so to speak. But that doesn't happen. And so what I was going to say is that impact is a result of your actions and how you respond to certain situations. So the number one tip that I'm going to give you, and I'll give you a couple today in regards to how do you communicate under difficult circumstances. The number one tip that I'm going to give you today is to move a little more slowly. Okay? You can't stop. You cannot stop. You literally cannot be in a position where everything stops dead. People are expecting things from you. I run a business. I'm a solopreneur. Really grateful that I get to do that. So things have to keep moving. But what I've realized is I'm more error prone when I am moving too fast or sloppily. So people can hear that in my voice. I just got done an on camera opportunity yesterday. And what I realized was the only way it was going to work for me was if I communicated a little bit more slowly. And it did work. That was the nice part. So you do not, some people make the mistake when they communicate, especially when they're under adverse circumstances, that they want to plow through something, move faster. Well, you're going to create impact, but you'll create impact, as I've learned, and the science backs it up. You'll make more mistakes. You'll literally make more mistakes in the sense that if you're just trying to rush and hurry and muscle through, slow down when you're communicating. Slow down. When nerves have you, sometimes that's unavoidable. Slow down. Bring a little less to the party, meaning if you're presenting for money, right, or impact, if you're presenting to get a job, if you're presenting for your promotion, keep the factoids a little under where you would typically want them to be. So this specific, oh, by the way, someone's asking, what is the subject of this live? This subject is optimizing your communications. Thank you, one of my YouTube followers. Optimizing your communications. You speak for money, you speak for business. Thank you for asking me that. I really appreciate it. If you're speaking to someone, sales, generating sales, asking for a job, a promotion, an important conversation, you have to be able to convey your point clearly, concisely, and in a way that someone wants to hear. So the focal point of today, how do you create impact? Especially when you have other things that are happening, whether it's in your life or your day or what have you. The truth is, the best way to be able to do that, the really only effective way that I'm aware of, is to move a little bit more slowly and really be present in the situation. And again, it just worked for me yesterday. So I have found when I have had adverse situations in my life that, again, my first knee-jerk reaction is I'm just going to muscle through, plow through. And I want you to be careful with that. So you want to create positive impact because, again, you'll create impact regardless. You'll make mistakes. If you move too fast, you will come off as sloppy. You might come off as unprepared or uncaring. So the focal point of, if you're presenting, speaking, and it matters, and your mind is not at 100%. That happens. It happens to the best of us. It's happening with me today, but it's really important to me to convey the information as a reminder that not every day is going to be your best day. It's just not. And so my current immediate personal circumstances are simply the fact that this is not my best day or best couple of days, and I typically don't look to make excuses, but I do need to know I need to be able to continue the communication. And so, all right, pretty good question, by the way, that just came up. Hold that thought, all right? And I'm going to answer your question, but I really like this question, by the way, of practice tools for communicating on the fly. So I'll be back to you with that. But here's what I was going to say. Primarily, move a little bit more slowly. Have fewer things that you want to convey. Conversation that I had yesterday on camera was 5 questions and an introduction and then an outro as they go. That was it. Right? So the best way that I could sit and not think about the grieving process or think about what has gone on recently personally is focus on just those 5 questions. Listen really closely when you're with someone. The best way to practice being present is just be laser focused on the other person. Okay. So the best to me, 3 tips. I like to work in threes when you're in important conversations. Make yourself present, fully present. Move a little more slowly in your speaking. You might get a little bit nervous at first, but I'm telling you, the nerves are okay. It's what you do with them that could be a problem, right? So lean in to the discomfort of a slower speed in a conversation. Lean into the fact that you're going to present maybe a little bit less, but you'll say it a little bit better because you're going to say it a little bit more slowly and clearly, enunciate, give better examples. And as you're communicating and as you're listening, you're going to react based on what you're being told. Simply engage in a conversation that matters. How does it matter? You're present in it. The other person is present in it. So now I'm going to answer this question, by the way, which I really like this. What are good practice tools for communicating on the fly? I will tell you. Listen really intently. If you're communicating on the fly, have some sort of an idea of the purpose of the communication, right? You don't have to solve all the world's problems. Break it down into smaller pieces, but make it really clear to the other person. This is what I'd like to communicate about today. Can you get an agreement from them? As, okay, I'd like to talk about this too. Great. And notice that I'm speaking more slowly. I tend to speak at a faster pace, right? When I'm excited, I'm very intentionally speaking more slowly. But agreement is a big deal. Whether you're communicating on the fly, whether it is something that you were working on for 6 months or anywhere in the middle. This is what I'd like to talk about today. Does this work for you? They answer yes. That's agreement. Okay. That's simply agreement. I don't mean close the deal. Agree on what we're talking about. Spend a little less time with a million points and be really good at conveying 1 or 2. 1 or 2. Giving examples, giving personal situations that matter. Because again, nobody has the attention span at their best, let alone at their worst, which is what I was talking about today. The topic of today's meeting is communicating under difficult circumstances. There's a lot of times when you'll see me doing live sessions where I'm talking about being at your best and optimizing communications. Well, sometimes you're not at your best, and you know it. Now, you could either hide under a blanket or you could tough it up, get ready, and make sure that your day is productive. So the impact that you have, things like, oh, he really listened to me. Oh, feedback I got yesterday, for example. Oh, that was a really engaging conversation. And that made me feel good because I needed the reinforcement, right? So all I'm asking for the remainder of today, any important communication, and by the way, this is any day, but if you're watching me live and you've got a conversation that you need to have, a couple of things that are in play. Do know, stalling is often not a good idea. So if a conversation is due, have the conversation. Don't put it off unless you're really feeling badly unprepared. But my thought is have the conversation. And again, you're going to break it into smaller chunks. A couple of details. Get an agreement early when you're speaking. Hey, this is what I'd like to cover today. Does this work for you? Yes or no? If it's no, okay. What is it that you'd like to speak with today? This is my understanding. Get an agreement, a couple of points, listen really intently, and then act upon what the other person is saying. Because even at your worst, you're capable of doing that. People will see the humanity in you. And why does that matter in business? Well, people do business, certainly in sales, but in any important business conversation, people do business with those they like, respect, and trust. You've heard that a million times, right? Well, it's true. So plowing through material or 100 bullet points, or maybe they won't notice that I'm nervous or not feeling my best, rarely works. Slow it down, allow the vulnerability to come through, but deliver what you offered. Okay. So, I'm just checking at these comments. By the way, I really appreciate these comments. By the way, this is awesome. I'm trying to get to a few of them. There's a lot of them here. So thank you for all of this. I'm really grateful. And I'm reading. I'm reading out loud. I feel I need to explain to get to the plan, but they don't want that. So it's been a challenge. Okay. I'm going to make a suggestion without having a lot of information here, but I would say I'm grateful for the question. If someone is expecting a plan, they're probably more likely to hear the explanation. And the way that you get agreement early on is simply saying, here's one tip that really has, to me, been quite effective. Here's your bonus tip. Go back to something that was said prior. Hey, here's an example. Hey, I created this plan because last time we spoke, we were talking about, or you were asking about blah, 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 whatever blah, blah, blah is. So I created this plan. Does that still matter to you? If it doesn't, or if something changed, wouldn't you want to know that up front rather than going into a lengthy explanation of a plan and they don't care? So, agreements. Hey, last time we spoke, we were talking about X. So what I did is I created this plan based upon that. Does that still matter for you? Or say, has anything changed? Now, timing can change. Circumstances can change. Maybe they're just having a bad day. That can change. But if you allow that to take place, I'm telling you, it's so much easier for somebody to be like, okay, great. You've got a plan for me. And it was based upon what I just said to you yesterday or last week or last month. Well, sure. Let me hear it. Doesn't mean they buy in, but I'm going to tell you, remind them of the reason you created the plan before you proceed to deliver a plan. Okay? So, today, briefly summing up, I got to tell you, a little bit of today was selfish on my part. No problem coming clean with that. What do I mean? What I mean is this. I haven't done a live in a couple of weeks. I don't need anyone to pat me on the back and tell me I'm, wonderful. But you can, and I'll take it. But what I'm saying is impact really matters. Ghosting a platform is impact, just not the impact you want, right? I'm grateful that I get the chance to help people with their communications. And in spite of the fact that it's been a rough go, and rough doesn't even begin to describe it in regards to the loss that I'm feeling in regards to my family, I'm wildly appreciative of the fact that I get this platform to be able to communicate and speak. So I want to continue to have impact, and just having a platform like this has really helped me. So again, the reminder, we still have a job to do, regardless of the circumstances. We're trying to convey or convince, and convince is a terrible choice of words, but if there's money on the table, the world doesn't stop just because your world isn't at its best. So this ability to have impact under dire circumstances becomes increasingly important. You don't have to get angry. You do not have to stop what you're doing. Just give yourself the grace to know that you can move a little bit more slowly. You can create an amazing amount of impact and effectiveness with less information. Just make the information relevant. And mostly, folks, listen to people. Okay? Because nothing impresses someone more than being heard. Honest to God, they'll want to hear your plan if they've been heard. They always do. So, folks, that's my mission for today. There will be more communications. Honest to God, the easiest way. You want to learn more? You want to be able to customize this so that you and me can set up problems in regard, or set up solutions, to your problems? The fact of the matter is, the easiest way to get to me is through my website, which is duffinmedia.com. There's a way that you can schedule a discovery call that we can have. I offer anyone who has engaged on my platforms the ability to have a 30-minute discovery call. Today has really mattered to me, and I'm very, very grateful for that. By the way, that's a really nice thing of you to say. I'm very grateful to you. Thank you. That's awful cool. This has been fantastic. So thank you. You want to have the impact? Again, do yourself the solid, a little bit more slowly, a little bit more specific, and allow the other person to be fully heard. Do those three things. Your next communication, your next business conversation will be more effective. I assure you. Have a great rest of the day, folks. John Duffin here with Duffin Media. Be well, and we'll talk soon. Bye.